Hello, everybody. Before we get into the show, I just wanted to give you a little bit of a rundown on this show. This is the lost episode that we mentioned on the last edition of Sacked in the Morning. And I've been working in the background to try and rescue some of the audio because it's not great. It's ropey. It cuts out in places. There's a lot of echo. This is something that we've been working on in the background, something that I've been working to improve upon. Hopefully you can start to hear that it's going to get a little bit better from this point moving forward. We've spent a lot of time perfecting it, working on it, trying to make it sound a lot better each time. We don't record this in a proper studio, so we don't have the benefit of proper studio recording equipment, studio staff, anyone with kind of the slightest knowledge of audio production. It's all done by me myself. It's all done in our private establishments. So we are working on it. We're trying to improve it for you moving forward. However, with that being said, this episode that you're going to listen to today, because it's been considered a lost episode, the information included in it are World Cup scores predictions, for instance. They haven't been taken into account. The World Cup round of 16 that you listened to last episode, that is the canon. That's based off of scores that Tom, Phelan, and myself came up with after the fact. So the scores that you will hear in this episode are not related to those results at all. So with that being said, if you feel like you don't want to listen to this episode, if you feel that you're having trouble hearing it, it's just not working on what device that you're listening to it on, feel free to skip this episode. You will not miss anything that relates to our World Cup predictions at all. I just wanted to put it up so that it gives you a little bit of a flavour of what we talk about. And of course, we also do the Hall of Fame induction at the end of this episode as well. So if you wanted to hear the stats of Ali Dyer and who he was up against, then feel free to listen. But as I said, if you don't want to listen to this episode, you can skip it if you want to, of course, no problem. You will not miss anything. And you can catch up again next episode where we will continue with the quarterfinals, semi-finals and final of our World Cup predictions. But if you do choose to listen to it now, I hope that you can get through it. I hope that you do enjoy what you hear. There are some funny moments throughout this, of course there are. And I hope that you laugh along with us. So if you do listen to it, that's fine. If you decide to skip, that's also fine. But if you are going to listen, let's get to it. I hope you enjoy. Thank you for listening.
When the seagulls follow the trawler, it's because they think sardines will be thrown into the sea. Thank you.
I'm now away to get me suit measured. Yes!
What about your start to the game?
It wasn't bad, was it?
Well, I asked him which way he thinks it should be done. We get down to it. And then we talk about it for 20 minutes. And then we decide I was right.
Messi! You could drop a tarantula into his shorts and he'll still be cool.
You can't win anything with kids.
Dennis Bergkamp! Dennis Bergkamp! Dennis Bergkamp!
Dennis Bergkamp! Dennis Bergkamp! Dennis Bergkamp! Dennis Bergkamp!
I think I'm a special one.
I'm the normal one.
Honestly, I will love it if we beat them. Love it. As electrifying as a hairdryer thrown into a hot tub, my friend. It's Torres. Unbelievable. This is not just a dream, it's a wet dream of orgasmic proportions.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sacked in the Morning, football podcast that's not a football podcast. I don't know. I need to figure this part out. I haven't quite got this part yet. What is it? It's the football podcast for the everyman, or the football podcast for the non-football fan. I don't know. What is it? Help me out, guys. Come on.
That's for everyone who likes football.
But doesn't want it from journalists.
Yeah, the football podcast not done by ex-celebrities, players, or journalists.
I studied journalism at university.
Yeah, but you've never been a journalist.
No, I haven't. No.
Yeah, so what are we talking about? Crappy people, journalism, and stuff like that, right? Yeah.
Football, Richard.
Football, of course, yeah, sorry. We do so many of these, I get lost. So as I said, welcome to Sacked in the Morning, the football podcast for people who studied journalism at university and never became a journalist. There we go.
Thanks.
That's our new intro.
Just crushed Tom's dreams right there. Or
Hey.
recrushed them, I'm not quite sure.
Don't worry about
Yeah,
it.
I was gonna say recrushed. Is that a word?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I never crushed them.
Yeah, moving on.
Yep, moving on. So, right, so last week, see, there it is. See, I can hear it. Can anyone else hear that? The double echo. You surely must be able to, right, Phelan?
Occasionally.
You can hear me through this microphone and then you hear me through the other microphone at the same time as well. That's what I'm... That right there. Can you hear that?
Yeah, I pointed it out last week. That's what you could
That's what I'm trying to avoid, and it's very difficult because unless I put like a f***ing soundproof screen between us. Anyway, last week we were talking about the World Cup that isn't at the moment, but that will be in...
Maybe.
Maybe? You don't think the World Cup's going to happen?
Who knows what's going to happen in the next few months, Richard? I just assume it's going to happen.
Sounds very ominous.
I was gonna say, I'm fairly certain it will happen.
Tom knows
So am
something
I,
we don't.
just trying to add a little bit of intrigue.
Does he think like World War III is going to happen and it's going to put the football off?
For you to say it won't.
Another COVID spike.
Oh God, guys, come on. Let's stop being so dire. Let's pick this up. Come on. The World Cup that isn't right now, but that will be in the future. That's what we are here to discuss. That's what we started discussing last week, and that's what we're going to continue discussing this week. Now, what last week was that we are guessing the results that we think are going to happen at the World Cup, and then we're going to have our own little World Cup in this scenario, and then we're going to revisit it in November and December and see who was closest to how the World Cup was actually going to lay out. You seem to think that you are, Tom, but I'm also pretty sure that you have Canada top of their group, so I'm not so confident on his results.
For you to say that they won't.
Oh, I'm still back in my 4-4 draw.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, Phelan's also gone a bit crazy with the scores as well.
Gotta
hasn't
take
he?
risks.
Anyway, that was the first week of fixtures that we did last week. Today we're going to work on the second week of fixtures, moving into the last 16. So, gentlemen, we can do these fairly quickly because we've discussed the teams already, but if you want to discuss anything specific about the game, feel free to do so. Okay? So we're going to move into day 8 of the tournament, and this brings us back round again to Group G. With the first game, Cameroon versus Serbia.
On burner.
Barn burner.
Oh yeah, it sounds like I've done that.
Yeah?
Imagine Serbia will probably win this one. I
Yeah.
think Cameroon have been very impressive in recent World Cups.
I think that they're very much like we said last week, one of the African teams that had their peak and their zenith, and then they've kind of dropped a little bit, haven't they?
Have any stars? Currently?
This is where I rely on you two lads. Come on, you know more about world football than I do.
Can't think of a single.
There's nobody
fast player.
particularly. No, there's no big name that springs to mind.
So what are we thinking then, guys?
Well, if Tom's saying barn burner, I want to see this score. It's just good. But if it's going to rival my 4-4,
I'm assuming he's being facetious there.
I'll go for a 3-1 to.
Repeat that, mate. You dropped out.
I'm going for a 3-1 to Serbia.
Got a fault, Phelan?
I'm going in completely opposite direction. It's going to be a snooze fest, and it's going to be 0-0.
I'm exactly on that page with you. I'm thinking 0-0 as well. I'm thinking boring game, 0-0.
The only thing would
also-
make it more boring is if Phil Neville was commentating.
Oh God, why would you torment us with such things? Why are we all so down today, guys? Come on, man. Why are we all thinking, oh yeah, like...
Is this Serbia's second game, right?
Third.
don't know, it might be their second game actually, mate.
Yeah.
It is their second game, yes.
Serbia's second game, and the first one was against Brazil. So I'm thinking if they come off of a defeat, that one, they're going to want to win this game.
Yeah, but I also think that they kind of know that they're gonna lose to Brazil. So is that really a? Although I say that, maybe I don't remember what all of us said the score was going to be versus Brazil. So.
I was about to ask that question.
Close.
You're just going to have to think what you think the score's going to be now. Again, between Serbia and Brazil, and hope that it was the same as what you said last week.
I think I went for an narrow Brazil win, but
Yeah, I think we all went Brazil win, to be fair.
So yeah, but so if that is the case, and we all think that Serbia is going to lose their first game to Brazil, then you'd say that they're probably going to know that as well. So then would they really be going into that game thinking, oh well, we really need to?
yes,
But if Brazil are going to top that group, a win, a draw, and a loss will put them through anyway. So
And the other thing that you need to remember as well is that just because they want to win, it doesn't mean that they will.
I know. They're going to take the initiative.
I'm still saying 0-0 Borefest.
yeah, I am.
Okay, so that brings us to the second game in Group G that day, Brazil versus Switzerland. Now, I'm assuming Phelan's going to think this is a 9-0 draw, right?
No, no, it'll be Brazil 3-0. Yeah, I see it being quite comfortable for Brazil. They'll start to find their rhythm, and yeah, they'll walk over Switzerland. To be fair,
Okay, I'm not going quite as gung-ho as you. I'm going to say 2-0 Brazil. Because again, I just don't think Switzerland have got the stuff going forward. But I don't think Brazil are that good either. Got better attacking players, of course, but I don't think that they're necessarily going to blow teams away.
So, these two played each other in the last World Cup.
I will have to take your word for that. I cannot remember.
Anyone remember what the score was?
I don't know. 4-0?
3-3.
1-1.
I don't know.
1-1.
I was right with a score draw at least.
But I think Brazil will win this.
I mean, that was 4 years ago, though. Remember that?
2-1.
2-1. Okay, so we got 2-0, 2-1, and 3-0. Did you
3-0.
say?
Yeah, 3-0.
Okay. So not a wide variance of distance. They're all kind of in roughly the same ballpark. So okay. That brings us on to Group H, and we have South Korea versus Ghana. Silence speaks volumes.
I think it's a must-win game for both of these teams, right?
Depends, what did you say last week?
Really should have
I
made a
don't
note of
know.
my scores.
Yeah, no, that's the whole point, is I don't want you to make a note, because when I work these out after this episode to work out who you think has gone through, I want you to be like, oh my God, when I say, right, Phelan, you have Switzerland versus Canada in the next round as group winners of their groups.
Only Tom's back in Canada to win their group.
He's backing them to win the whole thing, isn't he?
Yeah.
I'm
Secretly hopes
gonna,
he gets him in his work sweepstake or something.
I'm gonna go
Oh,
for Ghana
bruh,
win.
terrible.
Inspired by the great Thomas Partey.
And party.
Allegedly.
Okay, so what was that again?
I reckon 2-0 Ghana.
You're going against a team that's got Son in their team, and you're saying that he can't score against Ghana.
Yeah, but he's always going to back the team with the Arsenal player in it. It's that gooner in him.
Can't stand it, can he?
No.
Yeah, that really wasn't my thinking.
Even though you just said it's because of
Liar.
Thomas Partey.
Well, yeah.
I don't think you can say that Son's not going to score against Ghana. I'm gonna go for a 2-0 South Korea.
Opinion. What's feeling going to say?
I'm going 1-0 South Korea with Son to score.
It's going to be a pivotal game in our predictions.
I mean, it could be. We'll see what it all turns out to be. You never know. Might all come down to goal difference. You don't know. Even though you just said that Ghana are going to win 2-0.
That's sarcasm, mate.
That takes us to Portugal versus
I
Uruguay.
think he's injured and can't play.
You have to jinx Tottenham like that, hey?
Or what if he allegedly? No, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, well, he's just turned 30 now, hasn't he? So
What does that
He's
mean?
still he's still in his peak.
I think he's just getting there now. Yeah, I don't like the fact that you're saying he might get injured. That yeah. Right, that takes us to Portugal versus Uruguay, guys. I think that this has the potential to be a pretty entertaining game.
yeah, two decent sides. You think?
Feeling's having a heart attack. What's wrong?
Agree with that.
I'm going to say 2-2.
So he does think it's going to be interesting.
Okay, so he does think the way he was looking there made it feel like he was like, you're both out of your minds thinking this is going to be a good game.
It could go either way, this one. Like most football games. All of them.
Like pretty much every game. One team might win, the other team might win, or there might be a draw.
I think currently Portugal have the stronger team and out than you. I think, Suarez and Cavani are a bit harder. Also got Betinka. Odin's still playing for them. He's getting a bit old.
On their day, though, they could still spring a surprise, and it'll be entertaining, but I can see them cancelling each other out.
I think the thing that people know about Uruguay is that they're quite a physical team as well, aren't they? So, if they're not quite on their day, they can disrupt other teams at least anyway, can't they? So,
yeah, I mean, Uruguay knocked Portugal out the last World Cup.
Why he's here, because he's my stat man. He remembers all this stuff.
Uruguay knocked Portugal out the last World Cup in the second round.
Who knocked Switzerland out of the 1998 World Cup, Tom?
Weren't there?
Oh, see, there you go. That's what I'm talking about. See, that's. I wouldn't have even known that. I would have just assumed they qualified.
But I think Portugal have the stronger team right now. I reckon they'll win 2-0.
2-0. I'm
very deep in thought.
Because I don't know whether to agree with you that it's going to be a draw, or the other thing in my mind that's saying 3-2 Portugal.
Oh, okay.
Had a hat-trick.
You know what? Just to be different and to go in a different direction, yeah, I'm going to say 3-2 Uruguay. 3-2 Portugal. 3-2 Portugal. 3-2 Portugal. Portugal.
You would just go on about Portugal, and all of a sudden you just drop a 3-2 Uruguay.
3-2 Portugal. 3-2 Portugal.
Is that your final answer?
3 goals Portugal, 2 goals Uruguay. There we go.
You don't want to call a friend or 50-50 that, no?
No, that was just a brain fart, okay? That was all that was. Okay, well that takes us to day 9 and all the way back round to Group A again. And this is everyone's third game.
Okay, getting to nitty-gritty.
First game is Ecuador versus Senegal. I personally find anything other than a Senegal win here quite difficult to conceive, personally.
Yeah, I'd agree with you on that. Consider
I'm
just a 1-0
positive as both of you. No, I mean, I probably think Senegal will win. I could see this being a boring 0-0.
I do agree it won't be a particularly great game.
Right?
I don't think it'll be fantastically exciting, no, but I don't see anything other than a Senegal win, personally.
Yeah, they'll nick one and that will just be the game.
I'm going to say 2. 2-0.
We'll go 0-0 then.
The Netherlands versus Qatar.
This could get dicey.
Well, who does the weather favour, Tom?
Oh, good point. Yeah.
Let's not start this again.
I mean, the weather clearly favours Qatar.
Don't think it gets like desert in Netherlands. What about the high altitude? Will that help them?
I'm not sure what Tom gets more excited about, the games or the conditions.
It's
Hey,
the
man.
first time we've mentioned weather so far.
You got to take these things into consideration. When betting on Cincinnati, you need to. There are many factors to take into account.
Yeah, that's like betting on Denver at Mile High. Makes a massive difference.
Always bet against the South American team that's playing at home, like Chile or someone like that, because of the altitude.
I mean, always bet for the South American team that plays home.
Yeah, is that not what I said? What did I say?
You used to bet against. I think you were meant to say you don't bet against.
My
but you just said
brain,
bet against.
yeah, you don't bet against, yeah.
Yeah.
Brain's farting all over the place today.
I think this could be 5 or 6.
Yeah, I'd agree with Tom.
Find
I'm
it
saying 5-0.
difficult to disagree, yeah.
Even with the weather. I think, this is the third game in the group. The Netherlands will be used to it by now, surely.
Although I would like to make an editorial request, and across the two podcasts, every time Tom mentions the weather, you need to have a thunderstorm or some form of noise to accompany it. Yeah.
Okay. I'm just going to put Michael Fish up. So you're saying what you got to pick one. You can't say 5 or 6.
5-0.
Feeling
5.
I'm kind of inclined to go the same way, I think.
We'll go 5-0.
Right, I'll go 6.
Oh,
damn, we should have gone 6 now. Damn it.
You're closest without going over.
Yeah.
I'm going to go 6-0. Okay. So Group B and the big one. Wales versus England.
That's written.
score draw, 1-1 or 2-2.
I think the occasion might get to England a little.
Yeah.
Because Wales will be well up for it, won't they?
Yeah.
England might be like, let's just don't lose.
Yeah, we'll set out to not lose, and Wales will set out and try and win, and they'll probably score first, and then we'll nick a goal, and then they'll probably score again, and then we'll nick one really late to make it 2-2.
The first time these two have met in international competition.
No. Remind us, please, Tom, our little statistician.
Which are in the Euros into 2016.
And what was the score? And what was the score?
On England.
Who scored?
England.
Everyone.
Bale scored for Wales.
Oh yeah, after Joe Hart with the should have saved
free
that.
kick, yeah. And then there was it Vardy and Sturridge in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, because Sturridge scored. Yeah, Sturridge scored like really, 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 really late. When even Fergie time, it was like beyond that.
What tournament was this?
2016 Euros.
The one where we lost to Iceland later on.
Yeah, Joe Hart's fault as well.
That was a team. That was a collective team's fault. They all sucked.
It was on at like 2 in the afternoon.
Yeah, it was. It was like a really random time.
Let's get the day off work for it.
My brain is just like blocked this out or something. I don't remember this at all. I mean, you started talking about Vardy and Sturridge scoring, and I was like, what was this, like 2012, something like that? Or I was like, when was this?
This is that Jamie Vardy just come off winning the league.
Yeah, I do not remember this game at all. Yeah, you're talking about our team with Joe Hart, Jamie Vardy, and Daniel Sturridge, and I start thinking, yeah, we're looking at early 2010s, right?
When the team had like 6 or 7 Spurs players and
Will you get off your high horse?
saying,
So what are we thinking then, Tom? You haven't given us an...
what were you going? You two guys going for?
He's gone for
I said
2-2. I'm going for 1-1.
So no one's going to stick their name out. Why
No,
none
we're
of you
English.
patriotic, eh?
I want to know your score because I'm kind of confident of something depending on what you say.
That wasn't
Okay.
slightly cryptic at all.
3-2 England.
Okay. Doesn't matter what I was thinking then.
Before I was going to go for Wales.
Or it might be. I'm pretty sure one of us has put England out.
Oh,
Huh?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, based on the results that we've given, one of us has put England out of the group stage.
I don't think it's me.
I think it's either me or you
Yeah, you both want to draw.
that one of us has put England out of the tournament.
Well, I mean, it's happened before in a group stage for England, right? So, it's not beyond the realm of possibility.
I'm not 100% confident, but I'm probably about 70% confident one of us two has put England out at the group stage. I
As Tom
think
said,
Tom's
it's not
put them
beyond
through.
It's not beyond the realms of possibility. So, you know,
Just
It isn't. No.
damning indictment from us, really, isn't it? You know,
I mean,
probably go on and win
it
the whole
makes
thing
sense
now.
for England to go from a semi-final and a final to getting on to the
yeah,
group
to
stage.
go out of the group stage.
Yeah, true.
And then
Okay,
the newspapers would be like, England are in free for all. National team is a disgrace. Gareth Southgate has to
Southgate
go.
out.
You-
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
then I'd
you
be
know-
like, yes, they'll get out. Yeah, come on.
yeah, you know how it goes.
Gets to the nitty gritty and you can't do it. Like, nations are going to give a shit about. But, you know, if we balls up in the World Cup, then yeah, I do care about that.
Wild whip soaring from the British media as well, isn't it? That's the thing. It's like, oh my God, we're the best thing since sliced bread. Oh my God, they're terrible. Everyone should be shot.
Yeah, it's swing
Okay,
versus the
enough.
pendulum.
Exactly. Okay, this is another tasty match that I'm kind of looking forward to, more so for the political factor rather than for the actual game itself. Iran versus the United States of America. Now, politically, this is a bit of a hot one, obviously. Match-wise, we're not looking at anything too fantastic, I don't think. Politically, quite a big thing, I would say.
Not the first time they've met in a World Cup.
No. Give us another example. When?
1998. Round 1, 2-1.
USA
I don't
were
see that being repeated.
way
though, to be
worse than-
fair.
Or do I?
I think the USA are a lot better
I think they'll win this
now.
It'll be 2-1 to the US or two. I'm going to say 2-1 to the US.
2-1 to the US, okay.
Flips.
So go for a boring Mark Lawrence and 2-0.
Yeah, I think then based on that, yeah, one of us has put England out at the group stage because someone's got Wales in the US to go through based on goal difference or goals scored, I think.
I'm going to say 2-0 USA as well. Bit of a nuclear match there, it seems, that could set off a bomb in Group B.
Okay, it's a bit in poor taste.
You're in poor taste.
You got an eagle, a dragon, a lion. What is Iran's animal?
They don't have an animal, they have the scythe, don't they? The sword.
Well, that would scythe off all three of them, wouldn't it?
I'm pretty sure a sword beats all the animals.
Did a dragon chomp on a sword?
Well, St. George killed a dragon with a sword, so, you know, allegedly. Yeah, I just thought that was quite an interesting... It's quite an interesting group, all round, I would say.
Yeah.
It's probably the most interesting in world terms. Not necessarily so much football in terms, but like in like political, the way the world is kind of terms. I think that this is probably the most interesting group in the tournament. I mean, between, you know, you've got rivalries. None of the other groups really have. I mean, is Brazil, Switzerland a massive rivalry in the world? No, but, you know, Wales, England, that's a big rivalry. England, USA is turned into a bit of a rivalry recently. You know, Iran, USA, that's a big rivalry. So just, the only one really is Wales, USA. That's not really that big a deal, really, is it? But then you're going to have Gareth Bale playing in the MLS. Maybe there'll be something there.
I was going to say, that's going to tweak that slightly because it's going to generate so much interest in Wales and Bale with him playing in the MLS, especially if he hasn't been playing well or playing many games.
Yeah, exactly. He's going to want to
Because
have a
that will
point to
create
prove,
that
isn't he?
dynamic in the US media.
So I would say overall, this is the most interesting group in the tournament for the stories behind the games.
It's
I know
also,
that.
in terms of like any one of those three teams can act, two out of those three in any combination can qualify. So, like you were saying, like one of us has got England finishing the group stage. Realistically, and that's not being trying to be pessimistic with defeaters, it's just the way it could spin. Because the teams are relatively on their day, can beat one another. It's like trying to call a set of Premier League fixtures. On any given day, any of the teams can beat anybody else. And that,
I mean, I would say
really
if you look at it on paper, you'd think England and Wales would be the two to go through. But I'm pretty sure that from the results that we've given, that's not the case for most.
You can't write off the US team. They're a lot better than a lot of people give them credit for.
Yeah, no, of course, yeah. And they have improved a lot over the past 10,
significantly
15 years.
over the last, as you've got to say, last 10, 15 years, significantly better.
What were you going to say, Tom?
I know you don't put much into the world rankings, but apparently this is a group of death, according to them.
I mean, like you say, 2 out of 3 might cause a bit of difficulty. 2 into 3 doesn't go, does it? So 3 into 2, sorry. 3 into 2 doesn't go.
Just completely writing Iran off.
I think you'd say have to, wouldn't you? If you look at that group, you'd have to say Iran's
They've
the
got no
weaker.
proven track record of getting far in World Cups.
No, plus I haven't really heard anything about Iran making waves recently, like big results or like they've had a massive overhaul of their team or something like that, Well, that takes us to the end of day 9 and into day 10, and we move to the final fixtures of Group D first and foremost, which is Australia versus Denmark.
Yeah, so these two played each other in the last World Cup. Yeah, I can't remember the score, but I know Australia lost all their games, so Denmark obviously won. I don't see it being different here. I don't think this Australia team is as strong as past World Cups. They noticed all players.
I think they're badly missing someone like a Tim Cahill or someone like that, aren't they? Mark Viduka.
There's no like world class.
That one player that can do something when they're down. Really, I mean, their best player is probably their goalkeeper. Although the goalkeeper that got him through on the penalty shootout, that was his first game or his second game or something.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
So, I mean, is it Matty Ryan? That was the former,
the ex-Brian Kiwi.
Yeah, but where's he now? I mean, is he still the number 2 at Arsenal? Number 3 at Arsenal?
He's in Spain somewhere, I think now.
Oh, is he?
Spain,
yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I don't really have that one player that can be like, everyone get on my back. I'll do a little bit of the heavy lifting for a while, kind of thing.
It seems that way. It could be wrong, but it doesn't seem that way at the moment.
Something that didn't come up last week that we should have, considering what we were talking about, and considering the joke that we put in at the start of this episode as well. But Christian Eriksen. Now, we spoke about how is he going to do at a World Cup and blah, 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 blah. The one thing we didn't talk about, which is a bit of an odd thing to miss considering the running joke, how is the climate going to affect him? Because speaking as someone who's lived in the Middle East and someone who has exercised in the Middle East with an issue similar, bloody hard, and it is sappingly tiring and very difficult to breathe sometimes. So this is something that didn't come up last week that I'm surprised we didn't talk about in regards to this, because it's a heart condition.
But I feel like this wouldn't just it's going to affect everybody that plays in Europe, just in general. You're going to see so much rotation where teams are going to have to rely on their squad so much more than they did before. And I don't see, to answer your point, I don't see Eriksen starting games because of the conditions potentially. He might start one, maybe in the middle game, and be a substitute in game 1 and 3 as that kind of last 20 minutes. I don't see him starting all 3 games and then playing 90 minutes in all 3 games, just because, as you had mentioned, the conditions and the fact that every nation is going to have to rotate. You will see probably 7 or 8 changes per game, every game.
How many substitutes are there? Do you know?
I think there's 5. I think you're allowed to use 5.
And then I'm assuming later on in the tournament you get an extra one for extra time and everything as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and
Assuming
that's not including the concussion subs, which you can make.
I was just about to say, is that something that's going to be in the world?
Yeah, because it's been trialled in certain leagues across Europe, and I think the Premier League had it last season, even though they didn't really need to use it that much.
I think there was one time that they were considering using it, and then they didn't, did they? So.
And then they got absolutely crucified for not using it.
Let's face it, how much is playing for Man United is going to affect your health?
I mean, I'm assuming that he's going to be playing quite a bit, right? Because
Ten
Hag must like him, right? Yeah. I'm assuming he's going to get quite a lot of game time as well. So I know that he's a professional athlete, so obviously he's going to have a greater level of fitness than, you know, Fatty McFat over here. But it's still difficult. And if you have a heart condition as well, which, you know, is a cardiovascular issue, breath is going to be a bit of an issue for him. It's going to get sucked out of him quite a lot, I think. He's not going to be as mobile as he could be.
Yeah, true.
An interesting thing that we didn't really touch upon last week, which was funny considering we brought up the Ericsson thing and we were talking about the weather, but it was just something that we really brought up last week, which I thought was quite interesting. But yeah, scores, guys. What are we thinking? I'm going to go.
Denmark.
I'm going for a 2-1 Denmark.
As I said last week, they got to the semi-finals of the Euros without Ericsson. That'd be fine. 2-0.
Tunisia versus France. Again, a bit of a political match, so to speak, but maybe a little bit older than most people's time now. More of a historical rather than a current one. But yeah.
Can't see anything other than a French win.
Again, I think it all depends on what France has turned up.
Beat to this deal.
You think so? And I'm probably going to say that they are.
I'm trying to remember my scores, but if I remember rightly, I think I've got France going out. So this is a dead rubber game, and I think they'll win it.
I don't know yet. That's one I'm not sure of. I think I only really paid attention to the England one because I thought it was quite interesting. I don't know for sure the French ones yet, whether you've got them going out or not. But you might have.
I know I definitely see Spain are going to go out, and I'm sticking to that.
So, what have you got down? France, Tunisia? Feeling?
3-0 France.
3-0 France. And you think that you might have put them out as well, yeah?
I've got a sneaky suspicion I think I may have put them out, or they're going to be second in their group. They're definitely not top of their group, I think, based on the results. I think.
Tom?
I'm going to go 4-0.
Me too. Going to go 4-0 Mbappe hat-trick.
Now, do you think Mbappe's going to have a good tournament? Do you think he's going to... Because he had a very disappointing Euros, didn't he?
I think the fact that he's just been paid like a bajillion euros, I think he's going to be pretty happy.
But the way that money affects a player, we've seen it in the Premier League, haven't we? With players getting big wages and then deciding to not turn up.
So he won the World Cup, doesn't he? What does he care?
I think he wants the Ballon d'Or, doesn't he? That's what it is. And well, if I can have a decent World Cup, and I've won 2 World Cups in a row, I might be in for a shout, even though I can't seem to win the Champions League. I don't know. I'm still, I'm going 4-0 as well. So
okay, I will go for a Benzema hat trick, and that's it.
I mean, this is just a little bit of flavour. This isn't like a. I mean, if it's 4-0 and neither of them get a hat trick, I'm not going to turn around and go, no, the result is null and void.
Okay. So that might be the tiebreak then if you two are level on points at the end of it, no? Which
exactly.
A hat trick.
Little bit of spice. On to Group C, final round of games in Group C, and I've got Sara versus Mex. That's Saudi Arabia versus Mexico. I've just written it in shorthand, so it says Sara. And I was when you two were talking about Tunisia and France, I was sitting there going, "Who the hell is Sara? South Africa? No. Saudi Arabia. It's Saudi Arabia. Yeah, I know. Saudi Arabia.
What was this game again?
Sara versus Mexico.
Saudi Arabia against Mexico. The team's used to playing in hot conditions.
Yes, but Mexico's is a little bit more humid than dry. Different type of environment. Will that help or hinder them, do you think, Tom? Weather expert.
He said they've got to be big contenders for this World Cup because they're used to the. No. That being said, I'm going for 3-1 Mexico.
Goal for Saudi. Sara. That's good. I'm going to go 2-0 Mexico. You know, so far, I don't think many of us have got actually many draws.
Well,
and I'm pretty sure there has only been one game where either of us have said a 0-0 draw, and I think that's me and Phelan in the same game. We both picked a 0-0, and I'm pretty sure no other games have been 0-0s. We are assuming there's going to be a lot of goals in this
I think I
tournament.
said Ecuador, Senegal was 0-0.
That was only earlier this episode, and I cannot remember. This is why I'm not doing the maths in my head now. I'm going to wait and sit down and do it all individually.
The math for our American listeners.
Phelan.
0-0. Fine enough, as we were just.
Oh, that's just because I just said it.
No, I said it before you went on your little 0-0 tirade.
I'll have to rewind and listen to that and see exactly what you said. Poland versus Argentina. Put it in the comments. Yeah. I don't think there are comments on a podcast. Maybe there are. Yeah, of course there are. Of course
It depends where you post it.
It's in all the usual places. It'll be on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, also on Google Play. Just so you know, it'll be in multiple places. Though. Anyway, Poland versus Argentina.
Lewandowski against Messi.
They're both at the World Cup.
Yeah.
And they're not injured.
So yes, well, it's a big Titanic clash, isn't it, between two world-class stars? They're going to want to outshow each other. Maybe I'm going to interject anything on this one. I would say I saw a stat the other day. It said Argentina haven't lost a game for 3 years.
But who have they played in that 3 years? Obviously, the
they
South American qualified.
They did win the Copa America, to be fair.
Yeah.
Give them some credit.
I don't think South America is as strong as it used to be at this point in time, though. I don't look at the South American teams and think, yeah, they are the best in the world. You know, like when you used to look at the Brazil team and everyone was like, Brazil are the best team.
Yeah, like the 2002 Brazil team were like world class.
Yeah, I don't really see that in South America at the moment. The teams just seem very meh.
Yeah, I get it.
And you've just single-handedly trashed South America.
Yeah, but it's fine. We haven't got any listeners in South America. But I just don't see, the fact that they won the Copa America is like, ooh, way great, good for you, well done. Messi, you finally won an international trophy, good on you, well done. But who did they beat?
Everyone in South America.
Yeah, but as I just said, not really like a powerhouse of. Don't get me wrong, the quality of the players is still good. There are still some fantastic players coming from South America, but the teams just don't seem sensational.
Yeah. To be fair, to win the Copa America after they got out of their group, they beat Ecuador, Colombia, and Brazil.
It's strong.
Yeah, but then you'd say that those are probably the three, apart from Ecuador, maybe. Venezuela, perhaps above them, you'd say are probably a better side than Ecuador traditionally. But then you'd say that that's the three other biggest teams in South America, right? Argentina, Brazil, Colombia. You'd say traditionally those are the three biggest ones. And then Uruguay.
Uruguay were in their group and they topped their group 1-3 and drew 1. So
it's not really a surprising run-in. It's not like got there, But anyway, the point is that I just don't see South America, as what it used to be in the past. Like I said before, and as a Tottenham fan, this is a very strange thing to say. But if you've got Richarlison in your team every single game, your team's not that great.
I can't disagree with that.
No, I can't either, to be fair.
I mean, so let's say Ronaldo and Romario versus Firmino, Neymar, and Richarlison. Who are you picking?
Glad you didn't mention Gabriel Jesus. Was he on a different level than all those you mentioned?
Better than Richarlison. That's 100%.
So anyway, have you got for win the game? Or
yeah, good point. Oh, look! Oh, the host trying to move us on there. Did you see that?
We were rambling.
You
Let's do
run
that.
A little bit.
you run on my schedule. Not, I don't run on yours. We talk about what I want to talk about. So anyway, what's your favourite topping on a pizza? I'm going to say Argentina 2-0.
What was your prediction, Mike?
1-1.
So, yeah, this is the strongest Argentinian team we've seen, or South American as a whole. I don't know, but it's Poland. As I said last week, they've never impressed me in a tournament.
Wow.
Gosh.
Having said that, I personally think if you put Poland into the South American in the Copa America, I still reckon they'll probably get to a final or two.
What, just Lewandowski?
No, just because European
he's never
teams
done well
tend
in
to
big
just,
tournaments.
in general,
He
be
has as
better
well.
than most of the South American sides. Poland versus Ecuador, who's winning?
Poland, probably. Yeah, but you line up most European teams against South American teams, you're going to have most European teams to win.
What I was saying, you know,
Yeah.
apart from the big ones, Brazil, Argentina, they're actually going to cause people problems. 9 times out of 10, Poland will do all right against most other South American sides.
They lost 3-0 to Colombia in the last World Cup. Is that for you?
But England couldn't beat Colombia at the last World Cup either, so.
On penalties, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say.
But on penalties is
anyway.
not the same as beating him in open play, is it?
But England won a penalty shootout. That's something I didn't ever think I'd see in my lifetime after they lost to Germany in Euro 96. So, you know.
Or one Argentina.
Bloody hell.
Oh, it might be.
Barn burner World Cup. There's loads of goals in this tournament so far. That brings us to the end of day 10. Sorry, go on.
I was going to say this. We've predicted the highest scoring World Cup ever. And that's not
Yeah,
just
I'm
because
pre-
there's
I'm-
more teams in it this year.
We've only finished the group stage. There's going to be way more 0-0s than we've predicted. That brings us to day 11 and Group F. And we kick off with world champions-elect Canada versus Morocco. He's going to swing wildly the other way now.
Yeah,
and
this
say
is the
Morocco
toughest game in the group for
7-0.
Canada. Against an unknown Morocco team. Price package. Did I go for Canada to win both the two?
I do not remember, but I'm pretty sure they've played Belgium in one of those games, so you can't be. They've played Belgium and Croatia, and we're still joking that you think they're going to be world champions. So I'm pretty sure he's picked a dodgy
I'm not
result. in
that
there.
insane, man. Come on.
I think you might have done. I think you picked Canada to beat Croatia.
I think
then
I
draw
think
the
Canada
Belgium.
to win one of these games.
You've definitely picked Canada to beat either Croatia or Belgium. So,
And then draw the
Yeah.
other one, I think.
no, this is the third one now. Oh,
I
wait,
said
you
yes,
mean,
Yeah. That's a pretty straightforward Canada win for me. 3-1.
I'm pretty sure that's Canada top of Group F.
Yeah, you better believe it, mate.
In a group that has Croatia and Belgium, I'm pretty sure he's put Canada top of the group.
You're laughing now, but you won't be laughing in November.
So we've got England out of the group
I'm actually
stage.
going to dare you to put money on that.
It'll be a very small amount of money, but yes.
We've got England out of the group stage and Canada top of Group F. This is going to be a fun World Cup. I'm going for a Morocco 2-0 win.
I'm going for a 0-0 Borefest.
I actually, halfway through saying 2-0 Morocco, I actually thought, no, it's going to be 0-0, you idiot. But I'm going to stick with my 2-0. Croatia, Belgium.
Game.
0-0, straight off the bat. I'm going to get in there, 0-0. There we go.
Oh, that's the excitement for that game gone then. Oh, blimey. Just say what big game it is and 0-0.
It's going to be a big game, but it's going to be they can't, edgy big game. 0-0.
Yeah.
I've got to put more 0-0s in here somewhere, man.
I think after suffering to beat Canada in their 2 games, they're going to be a bit edgy, aren't they? So you got the World Cup finalists and the World Cup semi-finalists from last time.
The same group as the world champions elect.
Oh, so you're going 0-0, Richard.
Yep.
Sitting firmly on the fence.
Yep.
Not sticking your neck out.
No,
at all.
there are not enough 0-0s in this tournament so far, so I need to start finding them where I can in the last couple of games.
I'm going to stick my neck out then. 2-1. Croatia.
The Modric brace.
I'm going to say 2-1 Belgium, but it's going to be a really good game.
Quite edgy 0-0, yeah. Okay, Group E. Costa Coffee versus Germany.
It's a bit insulting, isn't it?
I just wrote Costa down, that's why. So
Alright.
Costa Rica versus Germany.
Germany 2-0. German efficiency.
It's hard to overlook Germany for this game, isn't it?
I think they're going to be I'm actually going to go 4-0.
I'll go in the middle then, 3-0.
Japan versus Spain.
Seeing as I've got Spain to get out, this is a game. Japan will win this 1-0. They'll nick it 1-0.
Spain for feeling.
Yep.
Hey man, if you can do dodgy puns, then I can do dodgy puns
Pain
too.
for Spain and for Kane.
Ooh, he's adding it a bit more. You got anything to add to that feeling?
No. Not even slightly.
That's lame.
That works as well. Very, very good.
Ba-dum-dum-tsh. Going for it, Tom? Oh, couldn't let me have it, could you?
Nope.
Bastard.
I'm not sure I agree with feeling that Spain are going to be as bad as he thinks. I don't know. Go for a 3-1 Spain.
0-0.
Kidding me.
I need to put some 0-0s in there.
Stick your neck out, man.
No, man, we need more 0-0s. There aren't enough 0-0s so far.
Have you given yourself a quota of 0-0s that you just need to fill in this third round of group game?
How many goalless games are there at World Cups
Saying
usually?
that, Spain have got Morata up front, aren't they?
But seriously, every World Cup you watch, how many 0-0s are there?
2.
Yeah, and I'm pretty
I
sure
don't know.
we've only
Tom-
picked like 2 before
Tom's
this
the
point.
statistician. You should know these things. Hang on.
Not that good, mate.
But anyway, yeah, 0-0. And that brings us to day 12 and the last round of groups game. We start with Group H, South Korea versus Portugal. Now, this is a game I think could be quite decent.
Son versus Ronaldo. I see.
0-0. No, I think this is going to be 2-2.
2-2. Desmond.
Yeah,
They're
I
not
could get on
cocky.
board with that.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Feeling it as well. You're feeling the 2-2.
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
Desmond.
Feeling the Desmond. Yeah. Tom.
So you both went for 2-2, so it's probably best if I slip my neck out and go for a result here, isn't it?
Don't have to.
There's no point in me going for the same result, is there?
Well, why not? Your other group games might have been completely different to ours, in which case, if you stick your neck out and mess it up, I mean, you could have different people going through on a different score.
Yeah. Again, I think Portugal have too much quality for South Korea. 3-2
Portugal, yeah?
to Portugal. Son will score in this game. He has to, surely.
If he goes. Ghana versus Uruguay.
This is our last group game, right?
Last group game of Group H.
Oh, well, we've still got G. Ghana versus Uruguay. There's a bit of a revenge in this one, isn't there?
Yeah. I mean, Ghana got any of the same players, though? I don't know.
Probably not. I don't know. It was 12 years ago.
Suarez is still playing,
So it's
but
never Uruguay.
I don't know if any of the Ghana players were in that side or not, but you would have thought like a national mentality, there'd be some sort of...
But yeah, I think they'll be up for that game as a nation, surely. That help or hinder them.
Let us know.
Me?
Yeah. Your score, your predictions.
Oh, it's my score. Oh, it's quite a tough one to predict. Screw it, I'm going to go for 2-0 Ghana.
Ooh, okay. Yeah.
1-0 to Uruguay.
I'm also going to
Just
go 1-0
too much
Uruguay.
kind of firepower up front will probably see them through.
I think that Ghana will defend resolutely, stoutly, but I think that they'll just make one error at some point, and then Uruguay will nick something.
The old part the bus.
Yeah, and Uruguay are also probably the most defensively minded South American team, you'd say, right? So they're quite
Yeah, I'd
happy
agree
to
with
just sit on a 1-0 1-0 scoreline as well, aren't
The
they?
physicality as you get later on in the game, especially being the third group game, will probably see them through.
I personally think this is going to be dull.
Yes.
Interesting game.
Yeah, tactically interesting. Yeah. I think this will be a dull game. I think Uruguay will have most of the ball, but they're not really going to do much with it. Ghana will just slip up at some point and Uruguay will nick a goal, and then Uruguay will just be happy to just sit back, hold on to the ball, play for time, professional fouls, all that, so time wasted.
All the kind of the tricks that the South American teams do so well. But yeah, that's where it's come from, though, isn't it? It's South Americans, and it's kind of crept into European game, not just the English game, but the European game as a whole.
World game, really. Professionalism, so to speak, is quite a big part of any match now, really, isn't it? In any kind of situation. But yeah, I think that it's just going to be dull, personally. So, and our final group, Group G, Cameroon versus Brazil.
I fear for Cameroon in this one.
Yeah,
The huge talent of Richarlison and Gabriel Jesus, Firmino.
and Brazil will have a lot of the ball. Brazil are going to have a lot of the ball and the majority of the game, to be honest with you. But, Cameroon camping on the edge of their 18-yard box with like 11 players behind the ball. Do Brazil have the quality to pick through that? I don't. This is what I'm saying. This isn't the Brazil team of the early 2000s. This is Carlson Brazil team,
They'll still have too much.
Come on.
Do they have a creative ball-playing midfield player that can pick locks?
Coutinho?
Is Coutinho the same player that he was when he was at Liverpool, though?
If Aston Villa right now, that should answer your question.
Yeah, I still think they'll have too much for Cameroon now.
Neymar.
I'm gonna put this as another 1-0 to Brazil. It's got the same problems as the previous match. But one team will be happy to not concede. One team who doesn't really have the quality to break them down. Mistake, goal. You're happy with that, basically. Yeah, that's what I've got. So
I'm going 2-0 to Brazil.
5-1 Brazil.
Oh, okay.
Apologies to our Cameroonian listeners.
Listener, singularly.
Yeah.
luck to that. Okay, and the final game of the group stages: Serbia versus Switzerland.
Big European game finished. Be close. Did you remember the last World Cup?
Sure.
2-1 Switzerland, I think. Xhaka scored in that game, maybe.
I'll leave it to you, statistician Tom. What are we thinking then, guys?
I'm gonna, because I started this group with a wild score, I'm gonna finish the group with a wild score. I'm going 3-3.
Oh, Switzerland goal machines in this World Cup.
I think you've got them as the top scoring team in this World Cup so far. So, England out, France out, Canada top of their group, Spain out, Switzerland top scorers.
Yep, the golden
It's a
boot will
wild
come from
World Cup.
Switzerland. I started the group with a wild score. I'm going to finish the group with a wild score just for the hell of it. Mark my words, it's the one to watch.
0-0.
Yeah, you echo my sentiments completely. 0-0 from me. I'm pretty sure when you said the other game was 4-4, we were like 1-1, 0-0 kind of thing.
Yeah.
You're like 4-4. And that, gentlemen, brings us to the end of the group stages. I will go away. I will do the maths behind this, figure out who we have going through into the group 16. So then each one of our round of 16 is going to be different, I'm assuming. So I will be coming to you with yours.
That different.
Well, but they're going to be different.
Yeah,
So
I'm
going to come
Tom's
to.
got Canada to win the whole thing, so you don't even need to ask him about his round of 16, and then the rest of it, he's just got Canada.
Let's go straight to the final.
On his little wall chart, he's got Canada all the way through right to the final, sat in the middle of his wall chart.
Oh yeah, I'm ready.
And Phelan's got Switzerland as top scorers. So Switzerland-Canada final is what we're saying, yeah?
Now, if I could name you a Switzerland player, I would give you a golden boot, but I couldn't name you a striker from Switzerland.
Xhaka.
Shaqiri.
Oh, Shaqiri, of course.
Yeah, but he's not going to be the
Ramon Vega.
Ramon Vega.
But yeah, so I'll do the maths away from this in between shows, and I'll come back and we'll each go through our own round of 16 games. And then we'll see where we go from that. But that will be that for the moment, gentlemen. Anyone have anything else that they wanted to talk?
Let's World Cup.
No, about anything in general. Like something that's happened in the news that you wanted to talk about, or like the women's Euros, or anything that you wanted to talk about. I will take that as a no.
Something that.
No, just that, you know, we were talking before we started recording that the Euros, you know, they started at Old Trafford, 60 some odd thousand. They're going to finish at Wembley, 80 some odd thousand, and then the rest of the grounds are kind of a couple of mid-tier Premier League stadiums, and then the Manchester City's under 23s academy stadium. Do you think that do you think that they should have? All right, I know the stadiums were chosen in 2019, but they should have pushed the boat out a little bit and picked some of the more established grounds, maybe like a Villa Park, you know, the mid 40,000, Goodison Park, just to really help try and grow this women's tournament.
I agree that you need to try and grow the tournament, and you need to try and you know, bring attention to it and things like this. But this is something that I've spoken to about Tom previously in the past, is what looks better, a smaller stadium that's kind of packed, or a massive stadium that's virtually empty? Which is going to give you the best advertisement for the game in general? Because, I mean, first and foremost, the Amex is way more advanced than Villa Park. Man City's under 23 stadium is probably nicer than Villa Park, to be honest with you, facilities wise. I'm not talking about like history or name branding or anything like that, but the facilities at the under 23 Man City stadium are probably going to be 10 times better than Villa Park. No offense, Villa fans, that's not what I'm trying to say, but it's an old stadium. This is a stadium that was built state of the art, you know?
I mean, I went to Goodison Park 10 years ago, and it's old and worn down.
Most of those stadiums are now, which is why that most tournaments that we're planning in this country probably aren't going to go to those stadiums now, because they're not going to be up to international standards anymore. Whereas you've got stadiums like the Emirates, Tottenham Stadium, the Etihad, you know, Wembley. These are stadiums, Cardiff even, you know, stadiums that are a lot more welcoming to an international clientele that are used to having pretty decent facilities, you know? Don't want to send them to somewhere that's basically falling apart, do you?
It's a fair point. But you know, just thinking in terms of like just growing the platform, you're talking about welcoming this kind of international audience in to try and promote, which is, let's face it, you know, women's football has grown exponentially over the last couple of years. I mean, Barcelona sold out their stadium, didn't they, for the women's fixture, and the Women's Champions League final did like 50,000 tickets. So I just feel like it's kind of undervalued it a little bit.
Yeah.
And I know it's probably for the FA's hindsight is 2020 because they picked these stadiums in 2019. But when you're talking about like the Euros being predominantly based over here last year, and now you've got the women's Euros this year, it just felt like they've missed an opportunity, because every game sold out, and they sold out very quickly. I know just from trying to get tickets for the Amex, which I'm going to for the England-Norway game, you know, you had to get it early. If I'd have waited another 72 hours, that initial allocation of tickets had all gone.
The only thing I would say is, when would you have changed it? They picked the stadiums in 2019, you said, and then you obviously have to have things in place like training facilities, infrastructure issues, accommodation for
And
not
that's what I mean.
only
They should have
fans
been a
and-
little bit bolder at the time of choosing.
I get that.
But then this is what I was saying right back at the beginning. Do you risk having a stadium that's pretty much half empty as your advertisement for the big women's game, or do you pack out a slightly smaller stadium that's maybe not got the name, brand recognition and the history, but you will fill out probably a lot easier than a, you know, I mean, you say that the opening game was at Old Trafford. Okay, opening game is probably always going to be quite big. The final is always going to be quite big. But then the little mediocre group games in the middle, do you want to risk having cameras on empty seats as your advertisement? I don't know. That's the only thing. I mean, you're right. They probably should have bet on it and gambled a little bit more that it's going to be bigger than it was. But then there's always that risk that it is going to come back and bite you in the bum. And you're going to have a camera on a stadium that's got a few people splattered around it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
I
Brighton
think,
was
yeah,
a good choice for host.
Both points are quite valid. It just
Yeah,
want
definitely.
to throw it out for debate.
No, absolutely. The problem is like most things, I don't think there's a right or a wrong answer. You know, hindsight's 2020, and you like every game's sold out. Then you could have gone, damn, we could have had bigger stadiums. You know, easily gone to like a 40, 50,000 stadium. That would have been all right. But then,
I would have thought they would have gone for stadiums at least 30,000.
Yeah, because you'd
What's-
even look at some of the championship stadiums, some of the mid-tier stadiums. There are still sort of 25 to 30,000.
Yeah. Aren't they
The-
playing games at Brentford Stadium? And that's only like 18 or something.
Yeah, so you've got Brentford, you've got the Amex, you've got Southampton's, and they're predominantly Rotherham, for example.
I mean, the only
But
thing I would say,
I don't know why, but I just find it the fact that they've gone to like Rotherham, which is great for, you know, bit of exposure for Rotherham, their team, their stadium, but then they've used the Academy of Manchester Stadium. Surely there was another stadium within that vicinity, whether it be Championship League One, that they could have used. I just
that
feel
area,
like
you're only really looking at Oldham, really, aren't you? It's not the two Manchester
Yeah.
teams. You're looking at Oldham.
Tranmere,
Middlesbrough, you know.
Middlesbrough,
Something like
Stadium
that.
of Light.
Yeah, but now, guys, you're talking about two stadiums that were renovated in the late 90s now.
Oh, yeah, true.
I mean, most players are going to go to one of those stadiums and go, this place is dumb. And they're going to go to the
Rotherham,
Man City
yeah.
under 23 Academy. Yeah. Rotherham, you use that argument and then it kind of blows my argument out of the water.
No, it doesn't, because it's a new stadium.
Oh, is it?
Basically.
Okay. The only thing that I would say is that you're talking about like women's Super League teams that are playing at tiny stadiums like Barnet Stadium or something like that, and they're not selling them out every week. So it's a pretty safe assumption to think, well, we're not going to be selling out a 40,000 seater stadium, you know, like for every game at this Euros. So I can see why they would think that. Because, I mean, if like Man City and Chelsea can't even sell out the Etihad or Stamford Bridge, you're going to think, well, what's England versus Norway going to open out, you know? I can see why they had the thought process that they did, is what I'm saying. But I can also see the other side of it where you're saying, well, you know, gamble on it and, you know, try and make it a bit more prestigious and say, no, we're going to go all out for this. And if, you know, you don't buy into it, then where were you when England played at, you know, Wembley or, you know, had or the Emirates or somewhere like that, you know? Yeah, I can see your side of the argument. I can also see the other side of the argument. And I don't think there is any right or wrong answer. In hindsight, there's a right answer, but did any of us know what the world was going to be like in 2022, in 2019?
No, it's like,
And these things take a lot of planning. These things don't come together overnight, no matter how much people want to. All you have to do is look at the Champions League final this year in Paris. I mean, that got moved months ahead of time, and look at the fiasco that happened there.
Yeah, it was a complete and utter farce.
Balls up.
But that's what I'm saying. So things like that can happen if things are done quickly, you know. I mean, you say they should have done this in 2019, but they didn't know in 2019. And then you had 2 years of pandemics, so you're not going to reschedule anything in there because you don't even know if there's going to be a tournament at this rate. And then we get to 2022, and then the option could have been to change it, but way too late to do it by that point. No. Tell us what you think. Let us know. Leave a comment. I'll check it out, and I will put it forward. But you got to try and encourage, you know, interaction with the fans. You know, that's what people like. Does anyone else have anything they want to talk about?
I was going to say, what does everyone think of England's chances of winning this tournament? Not the biggest expert. I'm just asking.
I think that there's been a massive improvement in the England team over the past 5 to 10 years. So, I mean, problem is we still got outclassed by like the USA and France and things like that. So they are still leaps and bounds ahead of us. Germany seem to have come on a lot stronger as well. I mean, they're huge.
Germans, they're always a tournament team, male or female.
Dutch are obviously a very good side as well. So
I'd say we've got a fairer shot as any. The new manager's got them playing a lot more exciting football than it was under Phil, part of the bus. Going to send everyone to sleep, commentator Neville.
Oh no, that's not what Phil played. Fast, attractive football. Play quick, fast, attacking style football. That guy didn't really know what you.
So try and say everything you just said with a straight face.
Oh, he was like a very poor manager, I thought, but he was a poor decision as well. I thought, this is his first role. You don't stick him straight in at the top table, do you? They seem to have found a more firmer ground now, and they're steadily progressing and doing. I mean, home field advantage might do them the world of good as well. I think you never really write off home field advantage, can you? I mean, it does wonders for teams.
Well, look what it did for us last year.
All of us put Qatar at the bottom of their group.
Yeah. You still need a little bit of quality to go with it, mind.
So, yeah, I think that they're definitely in amongst the favourites, I would say, for sure.
Yeah, I would say so. I'd agree with that.
How it progresses a little bit and see where we go from there.
Okay.
So, we will move on to our final segment of the show, and the Stacked in the Morning Hall of Fame, the illustrious. So, our 2 entrants so far have been Peter Schmeichel and Bobby Charlton, Sir Bobby Charlton. And there's a bit of a theme. My choices this week, we're going for the top international goal scorers of all time. Because we're in the international period still. We've got an international tournament on right now. We're talking about the World Cup on the show. So I've gone for the top international scorers of all time. However, Cristiano Ronaldo is, of course, the top international goal scorer on this list. But there wouldn't be much of a competition if he was one of the choices. So going with, it's going to come down to number 2 and number 3. Cristiano Ronaldo is not going to be in this discussion. He will come. He will get his time another time. But there's not much point picking him against these 2 guys because I'm pretty sure you 2 are going to say Ronaldo. Going to come down between number 2 and number 3. That is Ali Dyer and Mokhtar Dahari, who are the second and third choices respectively. You laugh, but I was surprised. Listen, when you get to it, I was surprised. So we'll start off with Ali Dyer.
I'm not surprised because I know Ronaldo had to overtake someone that was more obscure for Westernized audiences, as in terms of international top goal scorer. Who his name was, I didn't have an absolute clue, but I know it was someone that we wouldn't necessarily springs to mind to think about.
It's not just that. That's and the acclaim in the international sphere is quite surprising. Start with Ali Dyer. Born in Ardabil, Iran, on the 21st of March 1969, began playing at the age of 19 for his hometown club, Estikhal Ardabi.
How many times did you practice that?
That's no problem, man. فهمت عربية شوية شوية. كيف الحال؟ الحمد لله. Before two moves would find him settled for 4 years with Bank Tijarat, where he scored 49 goals in 75 games. Further impressive displays led to a move to the Bundesliga side, Arminia Bielefeld. Now that one was harder to work out, to be honest with you. In 1997, scoring 7 goals in 25 appearances on his debut season in Europe. This earned him a move. Bayern Munich, 6 goals in 23 appearances during his one and only season at the German Giants, before moving to Hertha Berlin for spending 3 seasons there before moving back to the Middle East. 17th of November 2004, Dai scored 4 goals against Laos for Iran, scoring his 99th, 100th, 101st and 102nd international goals, becoming the first male player in history to score 100 international. He scored 134 goals in 351 appearances, being capped 149 times for Iran and scoring 109 goals, second only to Cristiano Ronaldo, who broke the record. So this guy was the top international goal scorer. He won 2 league titles, 4 domestic cups, a Champions League runner-up in 1999, and for Iran he won 1 Asian Cup, 1 Challenge Cup, 1 West Asian Championship. He was named Asian Footballer of the Year, inducted into the Asian Hall of Fame, and named in the IAAFHS Team of the 20th Century.
What team of the century?
The IAAFHS. The International Federation of
National
Football
Federation of
History
Football
and
History.
Statistics.
Statistics, yeah, I've got it here.
He was voted in their team of the 20th century. There are some other big names in there as well. We will move on to Mokhtar Dari, and if I'm mispronouncing that for any of my Malaysian listeners, I apologise. Now, this is where it gets even worse as well. Dato Mohod Mokhtar bin Dahari was born on the 30th of November 1953 in present-day Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, to Aminah Shari Khan and Dahari Abeng. Now, I apologise if I've butchered those names, but I did try at least. Mokhtar played...
those names.
Oh, I might have nailed it, you don't know. They might have been like, wow, his Malaysian is amazing. Mokhtar played his first game in the Burnley Cup final.
Burnley Cup final?
For FA Selangor in 1972. Local Malayan cup that I'm pretty sure was set up by like expats probably who lived in there, who introduced football to Malaysia. So
I'm guessing someone was a massive Burnley fan.
Probably people from Burnley, like maybe like army regiment from like that region were out stationed
you wouldn't necessarily
and then
name a tournament after Burnley, would you?
Unless you're from Burnley.
Yeah, even still. People from Burnley don't tend to admit they're from Burnley most of the time.
Ooh, I don't know, man. I reckon people from Burnley are proud Burnleyans. Want to tell everyone they're from Burnley. No, I'm not from Burnley. Anyway, he made his debut in the 1972 final and winning the match. He was asked to sign for the club, becoming top scorer in his first season. He would be very successful here, winning 10 Malaysian Cups, scoring 177 goals for the club. He would play for several Malaysian clubs, turning down moves abroad to clubs like Real Madrid and Arsenal because of his love for Malaysia. So he actually decided to not move because he loved where he was. He just loved his country. So turned down and moved to Real Madrid. This is why I was saying, don't be so who. I mean, this guy could have been a big deal, but...
Hold on. He also turned down the move to Arsenal. That's much bigger.
Yeah, he actually turned down the move to Arsenal after he scored in a friendly tournament against them, and they made an offer to sign him, and he turned it down.
Because
That would have
he
been
realised that he scored
1979?
against them, so they're obviously crap, so he didn't want to go.
Ooh, 1979, you say? We just won the FA Cup.
Mokhtar Dahadi scored against you. Speaking of Malaysia, Mokhtar would make his debut at the age of 19 with several honours in Asia following. He also scored from the halfway line in a 1-1 draw with England B, who were managed at the time by Bobby Robson. He played 375 games, scoring 177 goals, being capped 140 times for Malaysia, 89 goals, and is the third highest scoring men's international player in history. He won 1 league title, 12 domestic cups, 1 Thailand Kings Cup, 2 Southeast Asia Games, and a bronze medal in the Asian Games. He was named National Sportsman of the Year, Best Asian Striker, Best Malaysian Player of the Century, and inducted into the Open.
I mean, it's very hard to discuss two players I've not seen much of, or any of in one case.
But I'm saying, if you need me to clarify stats again,
In 19 the century is pretty big, right? Being linked with Arsenal is pretty big as well.
first player to score 100 international goals as well.
Yeah, I'll tend to err on the side of the person who scores 100 international goals, because that's not a feat that's particularly easy to accomplish, by the fact that there has only been
twice.
2 players that have ever done it. And you're talking about some of the greats in, like known in world football. They didn't do it.
To bat for Mokhtar Dahari a little bit, I'm also going to say that this guy made his debut in a cup final. He wasn't even a full professional at the time. It was literally, they called him up for the game. And he also made his international debut at 19. I want to bat his corner a little bit. I think I know which way the wind's going to blow, but yeah, I'm going to say that this guy was no joke as well. I mean, he turned down a move to Arsenal and Real Madrid, so had he gone to one of those teams, then maybe you'd be a little bit more aware of him, and he'd have a bit more of a reputation.
There's no denying that fact, to be fair.
That's all I'm going to say. Is just don't write off the fact that you've never heard of him as swaying your decision in that for that reason. Try to put that little bias ahead and think, had this guy actually moved to Real Madrid or Arsenal?
Yeah, they've both been
Malaysian player to play in Europe.
They've both been massively recognised in their countries, in their territories, by their federations. I mean, you don't make the Football History Museum lightly. That's not a thing that they just hand out to anybody.
Yeah, and he's named as, he's named in the greatest team of the 20th century. So
yeah, and that in and on itself is an accolade that, yeah, they're not going to hand that out to Joe Blogden in the street, are they?
Only one other player that we've discussed was in that IFFHS. That was Bobby Charlton.
Yes, that would have been my guess, to be fair.
In esteem with Bobby Charlton. That's Ali Dyer, by the way. That's.
Yeah, I'm going to go for Ali Dyer. That's my vote.
What's your reasoning for the induction and the 100 goals? Yeah.
Say that again.
What's your reasoning for that? Is it the induction into the Hall of Fame and the 100 goals, or was there something else that?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, that's probably swayed it for me as well. You say he's played in Europe, but none of those stats look particularly impressive.
I mean, where was his European?
Germany mostly.
Yeah, it was in Germany. It was only in Germany, but I'm trying to find his stats for it. So he scored 7 goals in 25 appearances on his debut season. Awful. It's not exactly setting the world alight. But bearing in mind, he's also playing for a pretty poor team. And that got him his move to Bayern Munich. But you're talking about late 90s Munich, so you've got some
heavy hitters in that team.
Never getting into the starting lineup on a regular basis in that squad. But he had 23 appearances, most of them off of the bench, and 6 goals. Again, it's not fantastic, but then you look at the players that are in that Bayern Munich team in that period, and then he moved to Hertha Berlin for 3 seasons. Wasn't by any stretch of the imagination, but he's a Champions League runner-up, and we all know that had things gone a little bit differently, then he probably would have won the Champions League in that game. Happens that Eddie Sheringham is badass, you know. Okay, so I'm not deciding. You guys are deciding. But both of you are swaying towards Ali Dyer.
Yes.
It's hard to argue with a player that scored 100 international goals.
First player to score.
Exactly. And that can never be taken away. He may not be the record holder now, but he's the first player to do it.
He actually did come out and say that he's very happy that a player such as Cristiano Ronaldo has beaten his record. And he's happy that the record can be held by someone like Cristiano Ronaldo. He's pretty humble about it as well. And I think that if you turn around and go, your record was only beaten by Ronaldo, you can be pretty happy with that, I would say.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
He's one of the greatest of all time, isn't he? He's definitely. But yeah, just like I said, I just wanted to bat for Mokhtar Dahari a little bit because I'd never heard of this man before, but reading his stats, they're phenomenal stats as well for any player. And had he not been so patriotic and wanted to stay at home, then the whole world may have known more about him, to be honest with you. Big teams to turn down. I know that you're joking about the whole Arsenal thing. Decided to turn down at that point, stay in Malaysia and play in Malaysia. So I just wanted to point that out as well, that had it not been for his patriotism and maybe he knew he'd get homesick, the whole world may have known more about him. But I'm very happy to have learnt a little bit more about him. A very impressive player. But there can only be one entrance. That is Ali Dyer. Well done. You may be the second top international goal scorer. You may have got to 100 goals before any other male player. You may be in the IFFHS Hall of Fame. Team of the 20th century. Greatest honour. You have been inducted into Stacked in the Morning Hall of Fame. Can I get a round of applause?
Oh, well done, mate.
Fantastic. Well done. Well done. And that's it for this week. So I would like to thank you, my two co-hosts, Phelan. Thank you very much for joining me again.
No problem.
Tom, thank you very much for joining me. You will, that works really well on a podcast. A thumbs up, yeah. On a non-visual medium. Hey, you can hear this, right?
It's one of those audio descriptive things where he goes, Tom held his thumbs up.
Thanks for joining me.
But like in subtitles or something. I'll get like a robot to. But yeah, I have been Richard. I would like to thank you for joining us this week. And until next time, take care. Thank you very much. And goodbye.
Bye.
Some people are on the pitch, they think it's all over. It is now.
So if you like this video, please check out our other content. Click on the video below. Please check out this playlist. This is a Rich T Entertainment production.